Yo guys, what up? What up? What up? We're back in here, for our good old what podcast where we have real conversations, man, real conversations with my man, Red, half hope, and your man Red here and everything. So how's your just I want to like a life thing. How is life going? COVID,
Man,
all that kind of stuff. How's it rolling, man?
what's going on, guys? What's going on? Hey, what's going on, HH? How's it going? Of course, we want to say congratulations, everyone, to HH. His team yesterday won the Champions League. All the agendas fulfilled. Juju worked to a T. That's number one. To be honest with you, HH, life is good. It's honestly with COVID, it's been a bit tough because we're honestly adapting. Everything is closed, and like especially I live in Canada, we're still on full lockdown. Like no stores, no restaurants, only eat out, only curbside pickup. So oh, by the way, for everybody, Colombia.
Oh yeah, and also
Colombian jersey.
Inter Milan. I think you guys say Inter Milan. Inter Milan. This is
Yeah.
the Ronaldo jersey. Ronaldo 97 Inter Milan. So
Yeah, so what we're doing is like so it's pretty much just been a bit hard. Like for example, like I like to go to the gym. Like personally, I like to work out. So like over this past year, slowly I've built a home gym. I bought a boxing bag, I bought a speed bag, I bought dumbbells 5, 15s, 25s, and 35s, a bench press. Like slowly I've been trying to like build because I can't go anywhere else to do this. Like they completely stopped us from all that stuff. So we've so it's been hard to adapt, but like aside from that, like I'm used to it by now. Like my work is pretty much thankfully I'm one of the few that my job was not affected by COVID.
yeah, no, I think that's why. Like, I mean, that's been the crazy thing about COVID because it's like because I moved into this place November 2020. No, November 2019 is
Also,
when
like right before everything.
right before.
It's like,
So basically, I moved in November 2019, and this is when they're just hearing about it, and so I was okay, blah blah. And obviously, March was when everything just sort of shut down. So just seeing like all these shops open and everything, they're just seeing slowly and slowly the shops being closed down and everything. That's why it's like it has been such a crazy year and a bit. And I think for guys in the UK, so basically UK has had one of the most strictest lockdowns in the world, like super strict, because obviously Boris Johnson thought that herd immunity would work earlier on in the whole thing. It was like, oh, let's everyone just get it and then we'll just be immune. But then the cases basically spiraled out of control.
See, one thing I teach about this virus, what like this is like obviously, guys, tinfoil hats on right now. Like one thing about this virus is that like this virus is almost created to be the perfect like disease that to latch on to humans, right? Like because it's so easily transmissible between human beings. It's so easily and it adapts so quickly. Like in medicine or in real life science, anything is always slow. All change is always like incremental. It's very slow.
Yeah.
Whereas with COVID, this was spread so quick, which is now why you see like the US, there's a lot of reports coming out right now where they're doing investigations. Nobody believes this just came from a bat because they even put COVID into animals and it wasn't being transmitted the same way it is between humans.
Oh, no. What's cool? Because I was, I think it was cool because I was watching the Joe Budden podcast, because he interviewed Dr. Fauci on his podcast. And he was saying that apparently Fauci has said that he's not sure that this came about through natural means.
Yeah, exactly.
So wait a minute. So this was somehow manufactured and you're now selling us a vaccine of something that was manufactured.
I mean, look up how long it takes typically to get a vaccine out to the public, right? If you want to release a shampoo, it takes 3 years of testing before you can release a shampoo to the public. So you think a vaccine, even though, okay, granted, the whole world, one second, because like somebody asked, but yes, it's Thomas 10.
Oh yeah,
yeah, but
yeah, this is always Ronaldo as well.
Well, of course, R9. You have to show us it. We know. Ronaldo 10. Oh, that's one of the best inter jerseys of all time, by the way.
I mean, if we're showing jerseys, man, I want to show my jersey as well, man. So
no, absolutely. But the thing is,
see, that's the oh fuck, who am I fucking up on? That's the issue. There is that it's the whole vaccine thing. Like, look, man, I'm not one of those guys who is going to come out and say, "Oh man, don't take the vaccine; it's evil" and so forth. And like, because basically in the UK, like, I don't know what it is like. In the UK, there are strong anti-vaccination people who are like, no, this is all a hoax. But my thing is this: is that I'm not saying that don't take the vaccine. All I'm saying is this: this is something new that we've never seen before, a new virus, and you're telling me that within the same year, within a few months, you developed a vaccine. You know that Russia invented something. Basically, their vaccine is called Sputnik 5.
Mhm.
You know, and they had it like way before. And I think they would have had it like Sputnik 5. But then guys are like, bro, we're not going to just use some vaccine that just came up within a few months. So the whole point is that, so if you're, because most vaccines, the whole point of when you get a vaccine is testing.
Mhm.
So you want to say, okay, test on people. And also now, how are you after 6 months, after a year and a half, and so forth? And they've now said now that they've pulled back AstraZeneca because
Mhm.
apparently you got people were getting blood clots for
Oh
AstraZeneca
God.
and
Yeah.
so forth. So they have to say pull it back. So my thing is that, remember, the danger here is this is a once in a generation event that has affected the whole world. The last time something like this happened was the World War, where an
Mhm.
event affected the whole world.
Yep.
And let's be real, the World War didn't affect the entire world. It just affected, like, okay, America, but Africa and maybe some outreaches, maybe. But this is a virus which
Mhm.
spreads and has spread everywhere, apart from
The whole world
places.
stopped. The whole world. I did not believe it. I was like, "There's no way they're shutting down football." I'm like, "The football won't even stop. It's the end of the world. If the
Everything was stopped.
apocalypse or after people are lifting
Mm.
up, they'll be like sub on extra players and let's just keep continue playing." Like,
So it's basically, my thing about this is that eventually we'll have to take the vaccine, because people will say, like, you have to take the vaccine to travel,
mhm.
you have to take the vaccine to get to work. So it is what it is. But my thing is that, what if a year down the line something happens that people didn't foresee? Because they've not done testing on people and seen, okay, now how are you after a year? How are you after 2 years? How are you after 2 years and a half? You just, because there's been so much pressure to put out a vaccine because the economy has gotten screwed over. Maybe scientists have felt pressurized to
That's
be
what
like,
I
let's
think.
just, let's just put stuff out there so that we can actually, because look, America has opened up now. Here in the UK, we open up fully next June 2021st is when we now
Mhm.
fully open up. And the reason for that is because of how effective our vaccine program rollout has been.
Mhm.
So this has been able to get things back. So my thing is that, have scientists been put under serious pressure to put out something as quickly as possible based on how this has screwed over the world? That's my answer.
Yeah.
So
Well, see, here's what I think, HH. Like, personally, like, I will say this: whenever it comes to medicine, whenever it comes to science and things that could affect people's health and livelihood, I don't give any opinions. My only medical advice you'll ever get from me guys is go consult your family doctor, go consult your doctor.
your
That's the
GP or
person.
something, yeah.
Exactly. Vaccinations. I'm pro-vaccine. A vaccine, like, when you actually look up what a vaccine actually does, how they introduce the sickness into your body, and your body sort of builds the antibodies for it and prepares you for that so it could fight it. I'm 100% for I'm for vaccines. My only skepticism is I just like to practice what I like to call healthy skepticism, just to move with one eye open. So for me personally, I'm like,
I
mhm,
mean, that's basically because I was doing something for my part-time job about this. There's this thing called long COVID.
mhm,
So there are people who have recovered from COVID-19, but still have sort of suffer from depression. Their bones are weak and so
mhm.
forth, and they still have to now go back and visit doctors. So basically, it's now a medical term where they've now diagnosed it as long COVID, where even if you've
That's
recovered from the
wild.
actual disease itself, there are lasting effects that has on you both psychologically and
I
physically.
just
So
found out about that right now. And I'll be honest with you, it's just like that's what scares me about this is like here's my thing, right? And this is what I'm doing. First of all, I'm not essential in the sense where like I feel like the elderly, the healthcare workers, they deserve the vaccine before anybody else.
yeah.
But at the same time, this is a privilege for me because I'll liken this to something that I'm good with electronics, right? I never buy the first wave of PlayStations ever. Like
Mhm.
first wave for PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, I always buy the one that comes a year after because typically the first wave sometimes has some problems, some ticks, some there like some glitches, and they usually fix them out within the first wave, and then the second wave they release the like a more complete version. And that's how I liken the vaccine too. Is like sure the vaccines right now are good enough to get people back into the workplace, to get the economy up and running again, to get everything up and running again. But I'm just gonna hold off and see, like maybe like 2 years from now, we have a better alternative, and then I'll vaccinate then, or a year from now I'll vaccinate then. I am pro vaccines. It's just that again, like when you release a vaccine within a year after during a pandemic, even though I'm pretty sure the world's greatest minds were all working on
Yeah.
this. I'm pretty sure resources were all dumped into this. What you just said, HH, there's long-term effects, whether it's for the disease or for the vaccine. You never know. Like maybe this vaccine, sure, it sets you up like it does well, but you never know what it's going to do long-term effects. Again, we are not experts on this. talk to your doctors. We're not anti-vaccine. We're just talking about having a conversation about this. So please, people, take this with a grain of salt, because like this is actually dangerous to talk about because of medicine, man. Like,
oh no, you know, it's but
because this ties into our topic today, by the way.
Yeah, no, it is not. Again, keep. But this is why it does. You're also right, because you're like, you would hope that people are smart enough to just listen to information, but know that this is an opinion from a layman, and this is information from experts.
Yes.
So, and I think for some people, they're like, because I like this person, everything this person says, I'm going to listen to. But I'm like, no, you like me because whether I'm a stripper or whether I sing or whether I rap or so forth, yeah, view me on that. But when I'm talking about medicine,
that's not my specialty.
No, that's not my. I can have an opinion on it because I'm a human being.
Every human being is entitled. That's the key thing.
Every human being is entitled to their opinion on everything, and you should just respect that opinion, but you have to be aware that it's an opinion. But the issue we have with people, see, that is in a ideal world, you say, hey, people know that this is from the specialist, this is from a guy giving an opinion. But in the real world, people are like, I like this guy, I adore this guy. Everything this guy says is the Bible.
But see, this ties into like psychology when people internalize something, right? For example, like with Real Madrid, right? I've been following Real Madrid for so long that I've internalized them. So if somebody in the comments were to insult Real Madrid, I take that personally somehow. Like even if I don't want to, even if like I'm aware, like I won't respond or anything, but inside it kind of digs at you, right? So when you see this athlete and you've been looking up to him, or this singer or this artist, and you internalize them, right? Once they speak up, you almost feel like they're speaking for you, and you will automatically identify with what they're saying. You would automatically be like, yeah, well, I'm supporting them. And when you get that pushback, that makes you even want to grip onto what they're saying even harder. And one thing that people don't like to do, and this is unilateral, anywhere in the world, nobody likes to admit they were wrong. That is the worst feeling for any of us. So even if they feel sometimes that they are wrong, but they're in too deep, they're not going to go back.
No. And I think one of the best things in life is admitting when you're wrong. Again, like I always say this saying is that a clever man thinks that he knows everything. A wise man knows that he knows nothing, and he always has to learn. And I think, but a lot of people think that they are clever, like, oh no, I know it's all. But I think once you open yourself to learn and so forth, then it's key. So look, let's jump into our main topic now. So you see, I think this was definitely spawned from the whole AFTV Palestine thing. So I didn't want to go deep into Palestine. I wanted just to look at this on a whole macro level. And I said, okay, that's interesting, because I think I did, because one of my part-time jobs I do is like I'm a correspondent for a channel. And I did this, I think, last year, where the topic I did was sports. Should sports athletes use their platform to speak out about politics and so forth? And it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one because my thing is that I am a football player and I'm amazing at football. That is why I am this famous. But keep in mind that I am here because I'm amazing at football. I'm not here because I'm a genius. I'm not here because I'm smart. I'm not here because I've read a lot of books. I'm not here because I'm intelligent and I'm well versed in different ideas. No, I'm here because I'm amazing at this sport. And due to me being amazing at this sport, I've become very popular, and then I have a platform. And due to that platform, people are hanging on my every word, which is weird. Because I've always taken issue to when people say that football players should set an example. Why? Because let's keep in mind, these players left school at 16 because they were so good that they've been playing in the academy. And obviously, like in England, your GCSEs.
Yeah, you're not gonna go focus, do homework when you could be making millions.
Yeah, so basically, at 15 to 16, you've left school, you've taken your GCSEs, and now you're not fully focused on your career as a football player. So, because there's a statistic that university is when you really help to formulate your thinking, and the university really helps you to expose yourself into the wider education at 16. That's still very basic education. So you're saying that a guy who has been focused on football since he was maybe 11, 12, playing at academies and so forth, should now set an example for moral standards, which is weird.
Nope.
But the issue for that is a failure and a problem of society, because as a people of society, we have held celebrities and even placed to such a high standard. Because again, for me, I'll even use the example of film. Actors, when actors talk about politics,
don't like it.
Where's a perfect example, and it's even related to what it says. So, you know who Mark Ruffalo is?
Yep, of course.
Yeah. So basically, he put out a tweet and he was talking about how what Israel is doing is like a genocide,
and then
it's horrible and everything, and he then backtracked and so forth. And see, Mark Ruffalo, he's now sort of put himself inside, same thing with George Clooney, inside this kind of platform where, like, you know, he's very political and he's very outspoken. But my thing is, this is that, guys, he's an actor. Let's put it to even basic terms. He pretends to be other people. That's what his job is.
Literally what he is. All he does is just read a script and just go stand in a green suit and then just like he's mad or happy or whatever.
And then just memorize the lines and then try to encompass. That's what he is. So how do you now take this guy and say, "Oh man, we need you to stand for this. We need you to stand for that"? When it's like, bro,
I'm gonna include some nuance in this, right? Because, like, okay, so here's the thing. I don't like when people speak publicly about politics. I feel like religion, politics, these are for people for themselves, right? Like, you believe whatever you believe politically. Because let's say, for example, you like, maybe I might like everybody around me might be left leaning, but I see that the left, they're going to pass some laws that are going to harm me and my family, maybe pay more tax or something like that. So I'm going to vote more right to more secure myself. So in that sense, I'm not doing it because I'm voting overall because I hate this person or that person or this. I'm trying to press, or I'm trying to vote for all these major nuanced situations that are around the world. I'm voting for my benefit. So that's why when I see like athletes and stars and politicians, like all, they're trying to persuade people and make them become a leftist or a righty or a liberal or anything like that, it's all just propaganda and brainwashing. At the end of the day, like, people should do their own research, which that's what we always encourage here, is like, you should always think for yourself and not just follow whatever anybody says. But here's where the nuance is, right? There are some situations that are political. There are some situations that, like, okay, you know what? This isn't a clear-cut line, right? Let's say, for example, when Donald Trump speaks on immigration, for example, when he spoke on immigration, I can understand how that could be a political topic, because some people could be like, well, we have enough people in the country, and we have to focus on the poor people in this country instead of just bringing more people in. Whereas others will believe, like, no, immigration is what built this country. So it's a nuanced situation. That's political. That's between, I don't believe anybody should speak on that.
But let me quickly pause it there. So let's say you're an actor then. Like, this is a big example with the whole immigration thing. You're an actor.
Keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut. That's not your business.
But let me present it. You're an actor. You're a super famous actor, and you're left-leaning. Don't I have a right to send out a tweet about my views on Donald Trump's immigration plans?
You
and
can.
So forth, knowing that my tweets, because I'm super famous, let's just say I'm Tom Cruise or I'm Brad Pitt, and my tweet is going to have thousands of likes, hundreds of thousands of retweets, and it's going to really make headway, whatever I say. And it's going to shift things based on how popular I am. But should you, because I know let me just give you the thing, and then give me my answer.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because my thing is, the actor will say, wait a minute, I'm a human being. Forget who I am as a master. I'm a human being. I have a right to give my opinion.
Absolutely.
On whatsoever. But my response to this is this. I've always said that if you're an actor, specifically if you're an actor, because again, I came through acting, your sacrifice is you have no social media. That should be your sacrifice. Because the whole point about being an actor is the audience has to believe you are that person. You know? So like, if, let's say, I know a certain actor beats up people, is racist, is a bad dude.
Mark Wahlberg.
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. So, and it's funny you said that, because I'm like, it's weird for me watching Mark Wahlberg film, because I know your history. Yeah. But my thing though is that, so for an actor, I believe that your sacrifice should be no, you have no social media life, because if we now reveal who you are, it's going to be difficult for people to buy you as, hey, I'm a nice guy. Yeah, I know you're acting, but I know that you're a loser. So I'm like, well, an actor should be just, you're a vacuum. We don't know who the real you is. So we can now fully buy who you are. So I mean, where do you stand on that point of view in terms of?
Why do we vote? Why do we vote so we could get representatives in the offices to speak on our behalf, to debate these topics on our behalf? If you're left leaning, then vote left and let your representative go in and argue for immigration. Getting people riled up on the internet and making them go out and protest and making them abuse people online, creating this cancerous culture of debate online is not beneficial. So when these, like, yes, you are entitled to speak up. I'm never going to tell somebody not to speak or to be quiet on a situation. I just don't think it's wise because it creates a toxic environment. Like, one person that's always guilty of this is Demi Lovato, bro. Every situation Demi Lovato argues for, she makes her cause worse because like she's always like, she'll just go and fight over the most random shit and like and argue over this restaurant didn't have the they had some fattening products that's anti like something whatever, because they make everything so they make these debates so mundane and stupid that people don't ever take you serious. Now that's why we have so much partisan politics nowadays. Is because everybody's talking about it. Some situations you should know that, you know what, I'm gonna vote and I'll vote whoever represents me. And sometimes I'm gonna win and sometimes I'm gonna lose. Sometimes my party's gonna win and they're gonna debate and we're gonna have the immigration. But guess what? After 4 years, we can vote for our proper president and then he's gonna come and he's gonna do everything. That's how it works. But people have to have that kind of understanding. But the thing is where the nuance comes in. This is where AFTV kind of I'm not gonna lie, like I was actually hurt by their action because I felt like there are certain situations that are political, like immigration and stuff like that, where people can have two different point of views, and two different point of views are valid to an extent, right? But when it comes to humanitarian, it's something different, right? When it comes to situations where there is a clear people who are being oppressed, it's not political, right?
Okay. Let me stop you there because let's get real now. Let's get real now. And let me ask you a question. Let me present as a question. AFTV are a football channel. Do they have? They're a football channel, built with a football channel, and then have this massive platform. Do they have a requirement or a responsibility to speak on humanitarian issues?
But here's the thing. Let's talk about what actually happened, right? Because Mo would show up with a shirt like this one, but instead of the badge right here, the badge right here, what you would see, sorry, I'm just trying to get this out. Instead of this badge, he had the Free Palestine badge, right? Just Free Palestine. So originally what they would do is they crop it out so it's not in it. They purposely zoom in. If you actually go look at Mo's interviews, they're always zoomed in, and I never knew why, to be honest with you. And then if one day he decides to speak up, like this guy's a long-term member of this the platform. He's been with you guys for 7 years. He's a friend of yours. He stood he like defended you when you were being criticized by BT. He went up and debated Phil Neville, if you remember that back in the day. Like, he's done all this, so you're not going to let him just speak up for his cause. Like, let me tell you something. In what society do we live in, right? Where if you're just speaking for the other point of view, that's wrong, right? Like how does that make sense? If you're saying it's political and it's not big, then why can't you say just speak for the Palestinian people? Because why it bothers me, the most is this is like, and this ties into like Black Lives Matter and a lot of oppressed groups around the world, is there are certain groups in the world, they don't have a voice. They don't have a CNN. They don't have a Fox News. They don't have a BT or a Sky or whatever to spread their news and spread news for them. In Palestine, their press building was blown up. They don't have a voice. They don't have actual, like all the videos that you're seeing coming out from Palestine right now, which by the way, if you notice the news has slowed down, it's because they're cracking down on the people that are sharing the videos. They're cracking down on the journalists. We're not seeing what's going on. The bloodbath is still going on. We don't hear about it. So the only people that are giving them a voice is us, the people. Like we're the ones that are retweeting or that are mentioning.
But expand on that. So you said AFTV as a football channel don't have a responsibility or a requirement to speak on humanitarian issues.
They went out of their way to censor him. That's the problem. Okay, Robbie, don't make a full statement on behalf of AFTV, right? But if you have a contributor, right, and say that this contributor of mine wants to give this like 5-minute thing, it's Mo. It's only his views. They're representative of himself, not representative of the whole thing. Is representative of his views, right? Then how is that a problem? Why silence him? Why would you personally why would you contribute to the censorship of the Palestinian people? That's what bothered me. It's not with the fact that he didn't speak up, because like I understand, like if you don't understand the politics of it and you have friends that you don't want to offend and you have fans that you don't want to offend, don't speak up on it. That's fine. But you could bring it up in a sense where this person, these views reflect his own personal views. And Mo is a friend of mine, and he asked me if I could do this, and I'm gonna do this, and you tell me it's a business, Okay, fine, but like, what are they? What like? Tell us who these advertisers are. Let's boycott them if they want to cut you off, because you're the
Oh no, no, no,
you're
no,
the
no,
channel.
no,
You
no,
have
no,
the
no,
power,
no,
not the
but I think
advertisers.
what they did say was that there were a lot of viewers who wrote in
Mhm.
and said that, hey man, like we don't want this to be political. We want you to keep it strictly football, and they
But
felt that just the
but they
presentation of the
spoke
Palace
about
thing
politics
was
before. They've spoke about politics before. Well, how come these viewers? I'm pretty sure when they were talking
so
about Black Lives Matter, you don't think that there's white viewers that emailed them and told them that you're making this all about race and you're making this all. You don't
okay,
think
Red.
so?
Okay, Red. Let's get real.
Hmm.
Let's get real, Red.
Hmm.
This is the reality of the world. You see,
It's true.
the reality of the world is we like to believe that we will fight for all injustices and everyone's in injustice. But the reality of the world is this:
Everybody fights for their own.
we are tribal.
Yep.
We are tribal. Because I saw someone make an interesting comment when I
Mhm.
did my video, and I'm sure he was a black guy. He said that, "Are you sure? Why is it that as a black people we have to fight other people's battles? How do we know that these guys will fight battles for ourselves? So why should Robbie, a black man, have to fight other guys' battles?" And let's keep it real. Black lives.
Mhm.
Robbie is black. Black lives matter front and center. And I'll keep it real. Anything that is to do with black people and so forth,
Mhm.
I will be say yes, 100%. Call me pro black this, and I don't care. Anything black, I will be 100% behind that.
Mhm.
So that's why when it came to the whole stop Asian hate, I was like, I know generally I'm with you. I'm not going to be jumping up and down for you. No, because
Yeah.
I know what Chinese people do to Nigerians. I know what Chinese people do in Africa. I've experienced Chinese people being racist to me. So why am I going to fight for Chinese people when that these guys would step on me at their first opportunity? So I think
Mhm.
that the reality of the world is that people. You see, here's the thing:
Mhm.
it's tricky. It's tricky.
No, you're spot on though.
So
You're spot
no,
on.
no, no,
Like
but,
this is
okay,
human nature that you're
yeah,
talking
isn't
about.
it?
It's natural.
Because on one hand, guys will be like, I'm black. I'm fighting for black issues. For Palestine, that's their issues. Let them deal with their issues. We are tribal. We fight for our own because nobody's going to fight for us. Specifically for black people who we know we are the very, very bottom and so forth. We know that guys are not going to go out of their way to fight for us, or they'll only do it because hey, it's a cool, trendy thing to do. And BLM has now become a cool, trendy thing. It's become trendy. It's the realness of it has gone. Hence why
I support the motive. I just don't support the organization.
and it's
The
you
movement. I
know
don't
what I
support the
see.
organization. Yeah, I know what you mean. The organization has become more of
Yeah,
a.
basically
It's.
there are three stages.
Mhm.
The movement, it starts with the movement, then the movement now becomes organized as an organization, then it becomes an institution.
That's correct.
I'm always for the movement, always.
Mhm.
So I'm with movement. The movement needs to get organized because once you get organized, that's how you can get things done. I am never for the institution
Mhm.
because when you now become an institution, now you now become controlled. And now, and once you're controlled, your voice now becomes compromised, and the movement becomes compromised because the movement is stuff that's very raw, and that's is where it becomes very real. And you need to take that rawness, refine it, and then make it organized so that it becomes much more effective. But once now institutionalize the movement and the organization,
Power corrupts. You
yeah,
give power to people, they're gonna sell
you
out.
give
They're
it.
gonna change on the
So
rules.
hence why, like, I go to BLM and then there are BLM t-shirts, BLM merch. So I'm like, whoa, whoa,
Where's
whoa,
that money
whoa,
going? Where's that money? Who's
wait,
getting all
what?
this money?
Merch? BLM
Yeah.
merch store? I mean,
Now,
come on.
here's
So
the thing,
okay,
HH.
okay, yeah, so go for it, go for it.
Okay. Like the thing is, HH, is you are right. Like people, if people want to divide these topics into different like eras, the thing is, all these topics, all of them are under one umbrella: oppression. I'll give you an example. The police in the US, they actually train with the IDF. The rubber bullets that they use on the Palestinians are the same rubber bullets that they use on the African Americans in the
Mm,
US. Right? The same.
yeah.
It's about oppression. It's about evolving human beings as a civilization, right?
Mm,
Like instead of like we just have to elevate our level of thinking and stop the spread of propaganda that we have right now, right?
mm.
Like it's about going to the root of the problem,
Oh no, no,
right?
no, because sorry.
Mhm.
Because again, I don't want to. I think here's the thing with Robbie here. I think again,
Mhm. No, you're playing
Rob.
devil's advocate, which is fair. I
No,
want
no,
this.
no.
I want. Yeah.
It's not even devil's advocate to a degree. It's like I was even thinking about it to
Mhm,
today. Robbie did not do anything wrong. It's not the thing of, oh, Robbie, no, that was wrong. How could you do that? He didn't do anything wrong.
mhm,
It's just that it's complicated because I'm trying to enter Robbie's shoes. So let me go into the mind of Robbie. This is the biggest fan channel
yep.
in the world. It's doing extremely well.
International.
You're a businessman, and who knows how many people you have to provide for, because I'm sure that you have a huge team that helps to produce content on both of your channels. So
Mhm,
he's like, no, this is my business.
mhm,
And because it's my business and so forth, I have to protect my business. So my thing is, if I was to ask Robbie,
mhm.
I would just say to Robbie that how much was what Mo did, how much was that harming your business? Let's say if you could quantify it and put a number, was it hurting your business by 20%, by 30%? Like, how much was his Palestine thing? How
I
much was
guarantee
it?
you, HH. I guarantee you.
We don't
Like,
know.
let's be honest. Like, the thing is
No, 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 no,
we can know. You can get a rough estimate. I'll give you how. I'll give you how.
mm,
You can go on AFTV and look at the interviews. Right, there are clear favorites. Right, like back
mm,
in the day, Troops, DT, Claude. You know what
mm,
I mean? Ty.
yeah.
Even Robbie. Like when he has the new ladies that he has on there. Like these. Mo doesn't really get that much views because Mo's not a really controversial figure.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, it's very
he's
like concise and
yeah
straight. So he doesn't
yeah
go with it. Yeah.
exactly. Like my thing is like I understand what you're saying, is that some people do not have the obligation, especially when it harms them. They have family around them and everything. But here's the thing is that either don't bring up politics and don't talk about politics, because here's what you're going to do, right? Because let's look at it from, let's talk if you're an AFTV fan, right? Let's say
Mm,
you're a Palestinian kid that grew up in England, you've been watching AFTV from the come up, you're an Arsenal fan, you like AFTV, right? And then
mm,
when he saw that, like, the Black Lives Matter happened, he saw them, he supported Black Lives Matter because of AFTV. They brought awareness to him. He was like, you know what? Then the Palestinian situation happens, and he sees Robbie doing that. Does that fan not matter? What about, you said, the people that he's feeding? Does Mo not matter? Mo was there since day one. Mo has defended him
mm.
since day one. Does he not matter? Like, at what point do you want to put money ahead of people? Like that's it.
Oh, no, no,
And
no,
like,
no, no, no. Because wait, see, my thing about it is that I just don't understand how it would be an issue that, hey, now it's one thing if Mo wanted just to now talk about and go on like a whole, oh no, but if a guy just wearing a badge and so forth and that's it, how? Because you're like, it is what it is. And my thing is so if you have an issue with it, do you know that every match the hint is like about 10, 11 different people? If you have an issue with him wearing that, don't watch his interviews. You
that's
have
it.
like 8 other guys to watch.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why
So,
censor? When people say, like, this is the thing, is that people like to criticize the Middle East and sometimes the Far East, or that of censorship, right?
mm,
And that they censor, and we don't have the luxuries and the freedom of the Western world and the Western civilization and all this stuff. But at the same time, a flag on a shirt is hurting your feelings. Like, come on. Like, seriously, just saying it, even though you guys have all the nuclear weapons, you guys have all the mainstream media, you guys have literally every single facet, economically, from a military point of view, from a social point of view, you have everything on your side. A guy wearing a shirt that just says "Free Palestine" is what's gonna is that's, you need to censor that. You can't even give them that. And that's the thing, is like, it just, like I said, like, I've always respected Robbie. I'm not even kidding, I've always defended AFTV. I've always
mm.
done all that. And like, I'm not gonna say that he's a fraud, or I'm not gonna criticize him as a
No, no,
person,
no,
because I
no.
do think he's genuinely a great guy, and he does what he loves, and he's not in tune with his politics. And I get it. He's trying to feed his own. But I'm not gonna lie, as a man, personally, as somebody, I have this sort of I have this moral compass inside of me that doesn't allow me, like, even when I was a kid, I once saw my cousin making a kid in school wipe his shoe. And I came and
Mm.
slapped my cousin and told the kid, don't ever do that, because I have this sense of justice where I don't like when people do that, right?
Yeah,
When
yeah,
there's that kind of injustice, I just have to speak up. And like, as a man, I lost respect for him, because like, I just knew what kind of man he is. That he's money oriented. That he doesn't care what's going on, even though his fans are like, people are speaking up. Like, in that time, that time frame when that week was happening about Palestine, that's a
mm,
perfect time for you to say something people wouldn't backlash at you. Main actors, Jewish actors, a Jewish YouTuber, H3H3, right?
mm,
He's Jewish. He's his wife is from Israel, Ela.
mm,
Like, I've been following them forever, right? Like, I'm a fan of theirs. Like, he came out and criticized Israel, and
mm,
he's from there, and he criticized, because there's a difference between criticizing a military superpower and criticizing a group of people. If they came out and just let Mo give like 5 minutes without being censored, just to speak his 2 cents on the topic, just to spread awareness of the Arsenal fans, to humanize the Palestinian people in the eyes of the others, that's not going to hurt his platform.
No.
That would bring the fans that disagreed with him. That would bring them together. That would humanize the opposition.
Because I think that's why the main thing here is that I said again, like that's why I said like there's politics and there's like right and wrong. Politics is you'll never win because politics have sides. It's like this is just clearly right and wrong, but it just shows you the power of media. Because again, there are two kinds. I always say that there are sheep and there are wolves. 99% of people are sheep, and then the 1% are wolves. Very few people have the power of independent thoughts, but most people are led by the media machine. So whatever the media says, it's true because it's a corporation, it has a trademark, so therefore it's true. So every people about say, wait, no, okay, I know you've said this, but let me do my research, let me do my independent research. So because the machine has painted this as a very complex, complicated matter, people say, okay, no, that's whole politics, boom. And again, as I said again, growing up, I was like, oh no, that's politics. But I want to go back to the whole sports thing and so forth. So here's the thing. Which is why it's tricky, because so this is what I said. So when I did this piece last year, I said that generally a sports person is not obliged to speak on is able to speak on politics and so forth because they don't have the experience, and also there are sports people. They're not elected leaders. They're
not even properly educated on the subject.
It's true, but if let's say you are Black, you're Arabic, you're an ethnic minority, and there is something happening to people of your group, you do have an obligation. Now, you can still be like, no, I'm not going to speak on it and so forth, but you should still, I feel that you have an obligation because it is just what it is, because people will say, hey, look, you have this platform and you are this influential where you have, like, let me use LeBron for an example.
He's the best example.
Yeah, it's because you have a massive platform, and the key thing about it is that you have millions of white fans who listen to you, who admire you, who really hang on your every word. So everything you say, that why? Because it's weird. It's weird, and it's weird because if you look at something, if you look at it just like in plain view, you would think that he throws a ball in a hoop. Why am I listening to him about what is right and wrong? I should listen to somebody in politics and so forth. But the fact of the matter is that how the world works is, I like a guy for playing basketball.
You internalize him.
But I internalize him, and now I like the whole 360 about him. So now everything he does, everything is sponsorships. When I was young, I always said that, why would I never knew how sponsorships works. I said, by the way, so I'm going to buy this. Yeah, I'm going to buy this toothbrush because this sports guy uses. That's stupid. But once I grew old, yeah, but no. But once I grew older, I now understood that because I viewed sports as sports and I was never fully invested in it, I never knew how sponsorships worked. But when I grew older and I saw how people idolize people and internalize them, is no, if I put this, if let's say this Jack Daniels thing, and I put it in Cristiano's hand, and Cristiano says that, hey, this is the best drink in the world, those hardcore fans of Cristiano will buy it because Cristiano said buy it, which doesn't make sense. It doesn't actually make any logical sense because, like, bro, you play football. Why would I buy this because you like it? No, but you're a football player. But because people go so deep in their friendship of someone, anything they like, anything they do, they like as well.
Yep, that's a true. Like, here's the thing, it's just like, look, when it comes to sports people, actors, all this stuff, I never take anything they say seriously. Not because I also don't respect their intellect or anything like that. It's because I don't know what their invested interest is. I don't know what their invested. Shouts out to you, Isco Disco, my guy. And LB, I'm assuming that's Lebanon. I can't tell, bro. I can't tell.
Is that
LB. No,
okay.
but No, but like what? So what's it called? So when it comes to like these people, it's not that I don't respect their intellect or anything. It's just that invested interest. Like, bro, I would never trust Ronaldo with anything, because like I know Ronaldo would put his face on a nuclear bomb if they paid him the right amount of money. That guy is just a walking ad. That's all
Wait,
he is. A
who?
walking
Who?
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
He's
yeah.
a walking advertisement. No disrespect to him. Make your money, guy. Like if you did, that's it. But like what I'm saying is like when you make that decision that you become a product more so than a human being,
Mm,
your opinion matters less to me, because when you're speaking off of, like, I'll respect him when he talks about football, when he tells me about football competitions. I'll
mm,
definitely listen to him. But like from a political point of view, I'm like, man, you're in too many deep pockets. Like, because like let's say for example, HH, let's just say for example, hypothetically speaking, if I disagree with you fundamentally on something, but I won't criticize you because you bring me on the hangouts and stuff like that, right? So
mm,
even though, let's say people will be like, oh no, call HH out on his BS, calls, I'm not, because I'm too deep in with you. There's
mm.
that bias, right? That's what happens. That's why with LeBron, you don't think. Here's the thing: LeBron, Cristiano Ronaldo, all these rich athletes and stars, they don't need a government. By the way, these people are rich enough where they don't need. They have in their neighborhoods, they have private police. They don't have the local police going
Yeah,
to
yeah.
them. They have a private police, private guard. They could. LeBron has the ability to build probably 50 schools all over the U.S. and educate the people. He has the ability to put kids through college. He has that kind of wealth and influence to be able to do that kind of stuff. He doesn't, right? So for me, that's why when I tell you, like, when it comes to these athletes and stars, I never, ever, ever like to give value to their opinion. They're entitled to it, right?
Mm.
And like, hopefully, like maybe this podcast would educate some people out there to practice skepticism. Don't listen to these people. Like, vote in your best interest and,
Oh, no,
and
no, no,
listen.
no, 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 no. But you see, my thing about it is that I'm sure the people who are viewing this and so forth and who viewed me are independent dudes,
Mhm.
because of how I carry myself and the way that I say, like, because again, like that's why I have tons of arguments on my hanger, because I don't want my thing to be an echo chamber. But for people in the wider context, hence why it goes back to that's why I like even using the word celebrities.
Mhm.
So let's take Kim Kardashian. You are famous because of a sex tape and because you've got a huge ass.
See, I'm
That's
gonna.
why you're but no, let's keep it real. And is so basically you're famous because you have a huge ass and you made a sex tape. And my thing is that
Mhm.
it's so deep that I know that my sister and my mom are
Sorry, I
highly
think I cut
educated
off or you cut off.
people. Oh, I think you're red. I think you're frozen. You're frozen. Are you still there? Red? Or red? I think maybe if you come out and come back in red. Or I think
HH,
red.
can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, I can hear you. I think you cut off for a bit. Yeah, I can hear you now. I can hear you now. I can hear you. Oh, I think you just froze. Yo, Red, can you hear me? Okay, I think his breaknet is loading up.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I
Okay,
have to
cool, cool,
change
cool.
Wi-Fi. My bad. My bad.
All right, cool, cool. So basically, so again, like my sister and my mom, I know are highly educated people, very well versed and so forth. So I was
Mhm.
like, why are you watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians? Like, why you? I mean, why would you watch this program? And my thing about it is that why? Because every time I just look at a Kim Kardashian tweet and I see like thousands of retweets and thousands, it's like, wait, why would you listen to her about anything to do with politics and so forth? How is she even in a position to do prison reform
Let me
now?
tell you, HH.
Here's the thing: credits to her of her wanting to do prison reform and something. Cool, it's a thing. But my thing about it is that how is she even allowed to be in that position? But she's really allowed to be in that position because this is a failure of society. As a society, we are invested and we give people power because they're famous. We don't really give power to people who are truly smart, who are well versed, properly educated. We give the power to the people who are just famous. And because they are famous for whatever it is, for even for the most obscure thing, we give them a political power and we now sort of depend on them to now give a voice. And the unfortunate thing is they are even more influential politically than someone who's well versed in the world. So it's messed up.
Mhm.
And the issue is that you can't have that person is entitled to their opinion, but you shouldn't put the pressure for that person to now speak on very important issues. if you're not fully educated in those issues and you don't see both three sides of the issue. But
here's the thing, HH. I'm not gonna lie. Like I stan Kim Kardashian. I'll give you guys my reasons why. Because anybody with a who is impressed by a strong business acumen, Kim Kardashian's career is like, bro, this woman. I don't know who's behind her, but whoever is planning everything she does is a genius. And I'll tell you why, HH. First off, she's a person that does use her influence for good. For example, instead of going out and tweeting against Donald Trump and stuff like that, she was actually in office negotiating for to free some people, which, in my opinion, I feel like that's actually better than just creating like a toxic tweet that's going to have people arguing and cussing each other out and disagreeing with everything. Aside from that, Kim Kardashian, you are right. She got famous for her fat ass off a porn video with Ray J. That is true, but you can bring the eyes on you, but there's a lot of people who get 15 minutes of fame. This woman built an empire. Now, what did Kim Kardashian do? Kim Kardashian has no personality, like nothing, like legit. Like when you look at her, she's a blank slate. And who do I liken her to? Keanu Reeves or Neo, for example.
Yeah, Neo, yeah.
Keanu. Why do you do? Why now? Why do I liken her like that? Is because there are certain people who have that sort of blank face where they're meant not for them to be a character, but for you to put yourself in their position.
And that's why. Because I always thought, Brandon Lee would have been an amazing Neo if he had led, but Neo and Keanu Reeves was because he's a blank slate.
Exactly.
And because because really the guy that's the real character is Morpheus.
Exactly. He's everything's around him. You're right.
Everything because he's the guy doing the heavy. But because he's a blank slate, you can just put the whole hero thing upon him because he's just there just to.
Because when you're watching the Matrix,
fights. So
when you're watching the Matrix, you think that you're the one. They're offering you the red or blue.
Because he's just a blank slate.
Exactly. And that's what Kim Kardashian is. And like what she did, she used this lifestyle, this luxury, sleeping with rappers, ballers, all this stuff, and she turned that into a makeup industry, and that's where they made their money, right? Because if you look at most of the girls right now, right, like I'm not gonna lie, I go out with girls nowadays. They are all Kim Kardashian inspired. The long lashes, the black straight hair, the makeup, all this stuff. It's all Kim Kardashian. Like she sort of popularized it. Now we can go into cultural appropriation and how she took certain styles from other cultures. That's one thing. But when we're talking about popularization, how she built her wealth, like I do feel like she right, she's a mogul, right? Like I respect her in the same way that I'd respect like a Jay-Z, somebody who builds an empire, because that's very hard to do.
No. It's okay. No, let me stop it. Okay. First off, the Kim. Do you know what's funny about the whole Kim Kardashian thing? Is it's similar to Angelina Jolie, because for so long, black women were insulted for, man, look how big your ass is, or look at how big your lips are. Angelina Jolie, what is her key feature? Her lips. And then Kim Kardashian, what's her key feature? Her ass, which is fake, by the way. It is fake.
It doesn't look nice, by the way. I don't stand her for her looks, but I don't find Kardashian attractive.
So my thing. But also, when you say Jay-Z, no. See, the Jay-Z story is different because I said the Jay-Z story could never happen in England. Never. True.
That's only in America.
It's because Jay-Z is literally the American story. It's like from dirt poor to being in the same room with Warren Buffett and being one of the richest guys. So that is literally like from the very bottom to literally the very top. So that is a whole different kind of journey, which is why I said, no. Because also about America is that as much as I don't like America in terms of the healthcare situation and the whole gun situation, hence I could never live in America. What I always admire about America is the fact of that anybody can make it. As long as you have the hustle, the drive, and so forth, anybody can make it. In the UK, no. The UK is like, no.
There's pre-stated, like for example, the Tories, because you can trace back people from the 1100s, like royalty from the 1100s, that to this day their lineage are like Tories in the UK. I actually saw
because do you know what that is? Because it's weird because it's sort of the thing that America is envious of the UK of, but what makes America interesting? Because
it's a new world.
Yeah, you see, the UK is a very old country. Very old. And because it's very old, they have very old habits in terms of lords, kings, queens, and there's still that ideology of paupers, peasants, the rich, the entitled. But because America is a new country and doesn't deal with the whole because since they're a new country, these barriers of entry don't exist. So it's like, no, every man for himself. You could be anything you want to be, but UK is like, no. You can't be anything you want to be. It's like, which school did you go to? Who's in your family? Who do you know? Hence why there's this thing called Oxbridge, which is Oxford and Cambridge, which really is an exclusive club for rich parents who have their kids who they will take these kids to these specific schools. Hence why you look at the entertainment industry, it is only filled with people who've been to Oxford or Cambridge, mostly who are rich students. In America, it's like no, anybody can make
Anybody.
it,
That's true.
which is different. Yeah.
Here's the thing: it's just like another thing. Just go back to like Kim Kardashian. Of course, she's not like for Jay-Z, but like the thing is, I've read the 48 Laws of Power, and in the 48 Laws of Power, there's like they pretty much like I don't read them because I practice them. I read them so I know when they're being practiced on me in a sense. Like just it's good to be aware of that kind of knowledge. And with Kim Kardashian, when you actually look at her history, right? Because did you know that she used to be just Paris Hilton's right wing? Like she used to be her bag carrier. Like Paris Hilton was when she was popular. You can go back to like old Paris Hilton from the early 2000s. Kim Kardashian was just in the back. She would like get her wardrobe for her. She was not big at all. And like even on her come up, right? She would like, and the reason why I know this, I remember Charlamagne the God was talking about this on a podcast when he used to work for Wendy Williams back in the day. Yeah. He was a radio co-host. He said that he would see Kim Kardashian would come and wait at Wendy Williams' office for like 12 hours outside, just waiting to get an interview. This was like back in like way before the sex tape and stuff like that. So, and the fact that Kim Kardashian, like I like to see like any human being, you're going to always, every couple of years in your life, you're going to come up against somebody that's going to rival you, somebody that's going to come up against you, right? And if you play your cards right, you could beat him. He'll be left in your shadows and he's just a nobody. And if you don't, you make him bigger than you acknowledge him and he outshines you. Now, when it comes to Kim Kardashian, if I look at over the years, bro, there's been multiple women that try to take her spot. But just with her subtle like laws, like her subtle like movements, like it may not, like to the naked eye, they just think like, oh, she's just not responding, but like she destroys some people. Like Amber Rose, she used to be on Kim Kardashian's level constantly. She's nobody now. I don't even know what she's up to anymore. She's been finished for years. Paris Hilton used to be her boss, is now trying to work with Kim Kardashian. She surpassed them all. And
one thing I'll give Kim Kardashian. See, be real, I have nothing bad to say about Kim Kardashian. Like, nothing. Like,
you can say whatever you want. I'm not defending her. I'm just saying I respect her business acumen. I respect her.
I think one thing I will give her is that she understands how gullible people are and how stupid people are. So she knows how to play the game and she knows how to play people. So she knows how to sell herself and to maintain her brand. Because I don't know, but look, let's just because maybe like 10 or 15 minutes more. Yeah. I mean, so look, again, when we just look at sports people and politics, let me just put myself in, let's say I was a super famous sports person and a super famous actor and so forth. I would want to give my opinion on stuff. And if, let's say, I had a huge platform, now here's the thing. Let's say I had a huge platform and I knew my platform could be very influential. Now, I'm not trying to change anyone's views, but I am entitled to my opinion. Even though my opinion can really make waves, I will say what I need to say. But my thing about it is that for those who are receiving it, if you're literally hanging over every word that I'm saying without doing your own independent research, that's a failure on you, and that shouldn't be put on me. So when people say, wait a minute, hey, do you know how powerful your word is? If you say this, do you know it could really affect people and so forth? Well, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not Child X's parents. It's like when they say, it's like when they said that, well, we're going to ban GTA and Rockstar should feel responsible for people being violent. No, it's a freaking video game.
Yep.
If your parenting is so trash that you're allowing, first of all, your kids to play that video game and to actually be influenced by the video game, no, that is a failure on parenting. It's not a failure on Rockstar. So if, let's say, I say, man, these vaccines are whack, man. They don't do that. They're going to kill you and so forth. And this kid says, hey, man, this guy that I support, he says vaccines are whack. I'm not going to use vaccines. Well, how is that my fault? But people would blame me. They'll say, no, you have wrongfully influenced people because you are not a medical expert. And by you saying vaccines are whack, you've done a bad thing. But have I done a bad thing?
that's the thing. Okay, look. When it
Because it's
comes to
like I'll
politics,
give no. The issue is society and how dumb people are. The
it's
issue can't be
true.
on me, but it is what it is. I am
Yeah,
influential, and I could wrongly influence people. So,
we've all watched Spider-Man. What's the quote from Spider-Man? With great
great
power,
power comes with
great
responsibility.
responsibility. And that's the thing is like, that's why, like, look, I don't, again, when it comes to medical advice, I never give medical advice. I would never tell somebody how to work out, how to eat, how to drink, how to sleep. This is, everybody has a different body. Everybody has their own like circumstances. They're different ages, different body types, body shapes. We can't all be one size fits all. I may come and sit here and be like, yeah, bro, I can smoke weed. It doesn't really affect me that much. But for somebody with a smaller build than me, it might really mess them up, and they like get paranoid, and it could really mess with their body because like it's just too much for their body. So you can never really give, when it comes to medical, I do believe celebrities, you're not entitled to an opinion. Whether it's a vaccine, whether it's a cough medicine, whatever it is. When it comes to medicine, leave it for the people who went to school for and paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to get the education to give advice to people. So that's my personal opinion. I don't believe that people.
Okay. So you think that Carla Gugino was wrong in saying the whole stuff about
Absolutely.
the vaccines?
Because it's the problem is that you know that there are people out there that didn't go to school. You know that there are
Yeah.
people out there that didn't educate themselves. That people out there don't even know what a vaccine is. They think vaccine is like medicine. It's just like, oh, you put it in, it makes you better. No, a vaccine is literally giving you the disease so your body can learn how to fight it. So your body can be
No, but
accustomed to it.
no. See, my thing is that you're right. You're right in a general sense of like, if you don't have any medical expertise, you shouldn't speak on it. But my thing that I still put it back onto the 99%.
Mhm.
Because even if your opinion is, look, with trash, if I'm just talking, I could like, man, this vaccine stuff is whack, man. But like, I'm just talking.
Yeah, that's a different
But-
topic. Like if you
yeah,
disclose, if you like beforehand, you say like, look, I'm no expert. I just think that this is kind of fishy.
Red,
You know, like
I don't even need to. No, Red. I shouldn't even have to say that. I should. No, Red. This just shows the failure of society. In my ideal world, I should be able to say as a super famous person, man, this whole vaccines are whack, and you receiving it should be like, hey, he's just said it, and then I'm going to do my thing. But we don't live in that world.
Yeah, here's the thing, HH. We live in a world. We live in a world, HH. When you go inside the washroom, right, and you work at a restaurant,
Yeah,
and you use the washroom, you get up. There's a sign that has to tell you, "Please wash your hands." So with all this technology, all this advancement that we had, all we managed to do is build weapons to kill humans better, right? To be able to like kill better.
yeah.
But as a human beings, like like for example, like for our natural intelligence, even though we know hygiene is better for us, even though we know all this, we still don't make those decisions because as a species, technology is progressing much faster than our brains are right now. For example, our brains are only like your brain can. I forgot what the study is. Like, I'll reference it. Maybe I'll send it to you and you can put it in the Bible. Like there's a study that showed that our brains can only comprehend 150 people at a time. You can't really comprehend more than that many people. Like so, when at any moment in life, right? So right now, if I tell you like name people or like subscribers or people around in your life, you'll probably just be able to recall 150 people, but you probably know like 1,000. They're just not in your conscience right now. You can't think of them. So we've gone to a point where we now have a device in our hand, right, that can put me in communications with 7 billion people around the world, right? So this device made everything seem smaller, right? This made racism look more prevalent, right? Because like back in the day, I agree with what we were saying earlier about like how Asians could be racist to Africans and Africans could be racist to Asians and like Arabs could be racist to everybody else. And like we because like when you're among your people, right, you're going to speak from because you've never been to China, so you're going to speak about and just China people like you know what I mean? But that's not racism, that's just ignorance, right? Because if you actually meet somebody, you're not going to act and talk like that. But because now on phones, you could come across a forum or come across a tweet that was racist and you could share it, and now everybody on your side shares it and it gets bigger. And now because our minds are not set up to absorb all of these people, these 7 billion people, these 7 billion opinions and all this stuff, we believe that it's everywhere. We believe the world is cancerous, it's bad, it's toxic, it's all these things. We start listening to anybody because there's two ways of censorship: either cut off information or overflow information. that it becomes too murky. And that's what's happening right now. When these celebrities are talking, giving their opinions on these topics, you're making it much harder for somebody that's trying to find information to find information. Because if I look up COVID-19 vaccine, I'm going to get 10 stories about celebrities that opened up their dumb mouths speaking about something they're not intelligent or not, that I can't find the proper resources that I'm actually looking for.
No, but you know, but see, what I was said about this, I want to take some comments here. Is like, it's like the gift and the curse. Like the gifts of this and social media is, that's what I say to young people now, that the amount of information you have access to is amazing, and how quickly you can gain that attribute. But the downside to it is that there is so much misinformation out there, and there can be so much of a thing of too much information. And like for me, that's why I don't even go onto my timeline on Twitter, because it's too much. I'm like, this here, this, that here, retweets, and also it's a mixture of, there's some truth, then there are lies, then there are agendas, then there are narratives, then there's this, there's that. So it's and like the thing about stuff is that you're just getting it all as a whole. Hence why it's very important that, for instance, what I do on Twitter is that I go to, okay, what is trending? And that's how I know that, okay, if something really big has happened in the world, then I know that it's trending very high. Then I then click on that. Then when you now click on that, the beauty about Twitter is that you're going to get a whole bunch of views. You know, because you see, what a lot of people do is, I'm a leftist. I will just follow everyone on the left.
That's
I'm
true.
a right wing. I'll follow anyone on the right.
Echo chambers.
So this is just my echo chamber. But what I like to do is that, as much as I may not like this guy's opinion, let me just see everyone's general opinion on this topic. So when I go into, I'm going to click that trend, I'm going to see a guy give a leftist view, a rightist view, a centrist view, an independent view, and I'm like, okay, cool. Then after I get, then I can now
form your own opinion.
But the issue is, people, my brother says to me, people just want to be happy. And what makes me happy is listening to people that share my own point of view and doing that 24/7.
True.
So for them, people will always be like, rather than let me hear from this expert, I don't like this. Who else doesn't like this? Hey, let's talk about how much we don't like this. And let's just keep it as that. So yes, the vaccines are harmful to us and everything. Who else thinks the vaccines are harmful? Well, hey, well, there is a study that shows that vaccines are useful. No. I don't want to hear your study about how the vaccines are useful. I want to hear the harmful. I don't want to hear your research. I want to talk about, because I am just convinced the vaccines are bad. So I want to now search up everything that says the vaccines are bad. So now we don't have an argument. You don't have people pulling in arbitrary resources and examples of why they think this thing is bad. Wait, let me pull up some stuff. So from Amtrak, he says that to answer the question, I think he said they shouldn't be compelled to. So that
facts.
People, no, 1000%. Wayne Rooney shouldn't be the moral compass of society.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so
especially Wayne Rooney. Especially,
yeah, no, because I always because I remember when I think Rooney was just involved in this. So I said, wait a minute, you're expecting Rooney to now lead by example, because they said that Rooney misbehaving, it can sort of badly influence. But I'm like, why should Wayne Rooney now be the moral example of people when no, these kids have parents. These kids shouldn't be parented by a guy who kicks a ball around and gets into a fishness. So, just say, what about Twitch streamers and influencers?
Same. It's the same logic. When we're talking about celebrities, when we're talking about sports athletes, when we're talking about, it's just about a person who has a massive following, a person who has kids looking up to him. Because the thing is, Chainsaw Man, like, is that, bro, like, for us, once you hit a certain age group, I'm pretty sure once people enter like their 20s, the mid 20s, they start seeing the world for really what it really is. And like, it's mostly BS. It's mostly you're being lied to your whole life growing up. All the people that you think are like, the president is so important, you realize the president doesn't really do anything, and he doesn't really do anything good, at least. And like, once you get to that point, people tend to just naturally become more skeptic. But as kids, especially like when you're 18, 19 years old and you're just on the grind, you're just trying to get this through school, you're trying to get a job. You're easily influenced. Like these influencers, all these streamers, like they could get them, they sway people. Like look at Elon Musk. Elon Musk could affect the entire global market because people idolize this man.
No, but see, the key thing is that he used the word influencers, and that's the key thing. Because basically, do you know, it's wrong. It's basically when I did the football hot and everything, All I
Mhm.
was doing was football, football, football. That's all I did. And slowly the channel became bigger and bigger and bigger. But in my mind is that, hey, previews, reviews, football stories, and so forth. But as it became bigger, guys started to ask me about, hey, what's your advice on this? I'm like, wait, why are you asking me about life stuff? I'm the football guy. Anything to do with football, I'm your man. But people now ask me about advice on themselves, personal life, and everything. But I'm like, but why though? But that's because, you see, I was thinking to myself that no, I just assume that all people want from me is just for football and so forth. But I think once people grow attached to you, they now want, they now see, they now want more from you, and they now see you as this guy, this person, and thus the word influencer is birth. You see, I follow like this guy called Jody from Jody's Corner who does movies and stuff, and for me, I'm like, all I want from Jody are movies and his film stuff. So I'll never ask him personal things, but I think the word influencer is interesting because I just think that
It's in the
it's,
word.
no, no,
Influence.
it's in the word because I think this world that we're in, especially this media space that's continuing to grow and that is really being propelled by the youth and young people. I think that a lot of young people are going to look to these interesting characters, personalities,
Mhm.
these guys on the internet or whatsoever to really lead them and influence them a lot more than, let's say, they are their parents.
Okay.
And that's the saddest thing
Here,
is they are going to be much more influenced by this person who they've never met that may be 1,000 miles away rather than
you don't
the
get me,
father or the
dad.
mother upstairs. Yeah, yeah,
I'm
but
a maverick, dad. You don't get me, dad. Like, no, bro. Like, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Is like, I'm gonna tell everybody here, like, guys, if you're between the ages of 12 to 20 years old, you're what the whole world cares about. They don't care about me and HH. That's it. We're old fogies now. Like we're
mm,
they don't advertise to us. Our demographics not the most important. We're not the ones that are trying to persuade. They advertise to children. You want to know why is that? Is because like kids are easily influenced because when you don't know when you're growing up as a kid, you hear about religion, you hear about politics, you hear about like athletes, you feel lost, right? So you want to seek identity, and that's where somebody in the comments just mentioned that YouTube videos were a big help for him, which is true. You're gonna come into this. You're gonna watch these YouTube videos. Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder. These guys literally who have agendas that are 900 years old, Crusader agendas. Not even kidding. You can go back and see the Crusades, like the original, what the Pope was reading out, and read what these guys. They believe that 900 years old agendas. Like imagine being that dumb that you fall for the agenda that old. But put that aside. Like you have those guys. You have like your Joe Rogans. You have your Jordan Petersons. You have all like Joe Buttons. Like all these guys that will come and they'll tell you how to think. You have religious channels. You have all these right? Because you're easily influenced. But the thing is like now when you have these big influence, like you have to ask where the money's coming from. Somebody's paying them to push you in a certain direction. It could be somebody from the left. There could be somebody from the right. It could be somebody that's pushing a religious agenda. There could be a cult. It could be whatever, right? And that's why kids are so vulnerable. That's why you see a lot of parents like because you say the thing is when you say like it's on the parents to raise the children,
mm-hmm.
it's very difficult because like I have younger siblings, like well not anymore, they're not young anymore, but like I grew up with like I was the second oldest and I have like nieces and nephews. And I'll tell you it's just like kids up until the age of 9, they'll listen to you, they'll respect you and stuff like that. But once they hit 10, 11, 12, the angst starts to come in. They start hiding secrets and you don't understand. You don't understand. They'll tell you like you don't understand.
Red. It's cultural.
Mm-hmm.
For me, angst doesn't exist
Oh,
in
same here, bro.
African
I'm
culture.
Arab, bro. I grew up in Syria, bro.
Yeah,
imagine telling my dad I'm depressed.
Basically, angst is a word that I found out when I came to the Western world. So basically, when I came to England is when I found out about angst. The word angst does not exist in Nigeria. Like it doesn't exist because, again, this may be something that we can talk about maybe on next week's show. Is
the creation of teenagers. I always love that conversation.
Where
teenagers came from.
Not only that's not discipline. Should you beat your child? And that's maybe something that we can really talk to. Like, should you or should you not beat your child? But I
got a crazy story for you once when my dad like literally beat the living shit out of me. Like not in a harmful way, but like I deserved it. But like it's a big story. So we'll leave that for another time when we talk about that. But
but my thing about this is that I think like I do get it because I think when coming to England and so forth and seeing how the kids disrespected their parents and their elders. I was like, wow, that was new for me as a Nigerian, because like that doesn't exist in Nigerian culture of you disrespecting your elders. It
Oh
doesn't happen.
no.
So,
For us, age, like I know for a fact, is like age, like the same. The thing is, Africa, the Middle East, like even in the Far East as well, we have a very high reverence for the elderly, like the people that are older than you. They're always gonna have like a certain like reverence, even if they're wrong. You respect them, even if you disagree with them. You cannot like or like even if your dad is like giving some political views that you know for a fact, you're like, well, like that's not you're wrong. Don't do that. Don't say that. But I'm not gonna ever sit there and like Dad, let me educate you. That's disrespectful. Don't speak to your father like that. Like I agree with you in that sense where like you do have that discipline where your parents should have the right to discipline their children, whether hit them or put them on the right path, or whether it's your mother. Most likely it's mothers, to be honest. Mothers are usually harsher on the kids because the one that loves you the more is going to get angry at you the more. It's on the spectrum. That's how it is.
So thank you, Cosplay Awesome. So that the world is so woke, even CIA has a recruiting.
I'll send you the ad, HH. I'll send you the ad. That ad is so disturbing. It's so I sent it to DT before. We and DT were having this discussion. I sent it to him. Like that ad is so disturbing.
Wait. What's okay? Just give me a look.
They just have like this woman, like she's racially ambiguous. You don't know what she is, like, to be honest with you. And like she's being like, I grew up as a non-binary, like, something like that. And like we at the CIA are accept, and like she's like walking through these hallways and stuff like that, about how she's like taking down ceilings. And it's just such a woke ad for an organization that takes down governments and kills people. like but the thing is that but it works. It works. This kind of advertisement, though, like for us, because it's not targeting our demographic, so it doesn't work, right? You can go watch a Russian army recruitment video, and you see a bald guy get up and do pull-ups and say, and you'll be like, oh man, I want to go hit the gym. I want to be like tough. I want to protect my family, right? Because that works for us.
No, but my thing, would that work though? Because I'm expecting, because I've watched a lot of movies of that, I'm expecting the CIA is where you need to be pretty hardcore. You're dealing with a lot of pressure and so forth. So shouldn't your ad pretty much be tailored to you need to be a particular kind of person and built a particular kind of way to go through, rather than, hey, this is open for everybody. You can be green, white, blue, and
good PR, HH. Good PR. That's all it's about. That's all it's about. It's all about having good PR. It's all about having people that what's it called? The people to view you in a certain light, right? Like when you see these celebrities that they tweet, for example, for certain causes, do you think they care about the actual cause? Or because they see it's trending right now, so let me tweet about it. I'll get my name trending, right? And it's just good PR. So the CIA, for example, they probably we're like, okay, like we don't want to be known as this, like we want to maintain funding to maintain this thing, which they'll never get funded. Like they're funded by the Bushes, like the George W. Bush's grandfather, Preston Bush. He's the one that pretty much started it all back in like the 1920s. So
let's just run because we need to sort of round up because there's so many stuff to go through. But just because we said we're going to talk about disciplining guys and so forth. Now, I'm probably going to do a video on this first, and then I want to have a discussion because you mentioned Demi Lovato and non-binary. You see, it's so deep that I think we have to save that for next week because I want to do a video on it. Before I do the video, like I've been trying to research non-binary, and I've tried to go onto like health sites and say that is this actually a medical biological possibility of you being non-binary?
I don't think so. Like I don't think there's any evidence. Like, look, personally, I believe, like, here's the thing. Whenever it comes to personal people's choices and opinions, I believe, do your thing. Like, you want to say you're non-binary, you want to say you're in a Apache helicopter, go do your thing, bro. Like, I'm not here to do. But like,
I don't have to accept it though.
Yeah, no. I like just like you're entitled to do, like, say what you are, whatever you want. I'm also entitled to believe in what I want. If I don't believe that, you're like, if I tell my son that no, that is actually a woman, but she believes she's a man, or she believes she's non-binary, yeah, I'm entitled to tell my kid that. Like, I think so. Like, I don't see where the problem is in that. I'm raising my child, and I want him to have this outlook, and then he could grow from there. But not in a hateful way. I don't mean to say it to spite her or anything like that. It's just for educational purposes. But I feel like, here's the thing: if we're going to be making drastic changes to the way our like to human anthropology, right?
Mm.
And a society as it is, for us to say that there's a
Yeah.
new
Yeah.
gender,
Him,
or you can
him, they,
change
them,
all
there.
that stuff.
Yeah.
Like when you're changing all this stuff, you have to set a very solid, easy to follow guideline. You have to make sure that when you're doing this, every other party isn't bothered. Now, as a man, right, I don't give a shit, bro. I go
Mm.
into a public washroom, I'll take a piss, walk out, wash my hands, walk out. Everything is good, right? Like,
Mm.
I don't look left or right. Nobody's coming near me, right?
Yeah.
But I have legit been in situations, and I'm not even kidding, with women that tell me they're scared to go to the washroom because there's a guy standing outside the door. There's something legit. They'll tell you like, "Oh, can you come like with me just to the door because there's a guy standing over there." Like, just because he's standing near the door,
Mm.
right? Now, if you get to a scenario where, like, let's say for example, you're a woman, or maybe your little girl. Let's say you're out with your little girl at the mall, and she tells you,
Mm.
"Baba, I want, Daddy, I want to use the washroom." You take her to the washroom. While she's in there, she's like, "Daddy, there's a man inside. I was scared." Now that man's telling you, well, I identify as a woman, I'm non-binary, I'm non-binary, whatever. Like when it comes to those situations, I feel like you have to set a strong precedent. That, okay, if you identify as this,
Mm.
therefore you have to do A, B, and C to like make sure that you're not just throwing it out there, right? To prove.
Oh, no, but again, see, you're talking ideally. Hence why we're living in the wild, wild west. And in the wild, wild
Wild the
west,
jungle.
people are just going to just say whatever they say. And if you
Super
say
chat,
any,
by the way, super
I
chat.
mean, no. Okay, so
Mm.
if you say anything against it, people just that you're not respecting people's emotions and you're being disrespectful. And my thing is that, and that's the issue. So you will always be in the wrong because you're like, you can't just be anything. There should be rules, and everything should be systematic so that we understand where things are. So there is like everything makes sense and everything is really in tandem. But the issue we now have is people are living off their emotions and their vibes. And if you now question these vibes, say, no, this whatever your emotions and vibes are, they need to make sense and they need to be structured. If you now say that, you will now be saying, oh no, you're now being disrespectful and so forth. So obviously we'll get into the whole non-binary thing. But I said, I respect it, but it doesn't make sense to me. So last thing before where was that? So James D said that ad got your attention, goal achieved. It may have got my attention, but is it now going to make me? It's not going to make me join the CIA. It's like not all press is good press, and it depends what's goal you want to achieve. Now, because my thing is that the CIA isn't Kim Kardashian. Now, if let's say I'm a tabloid newspaper, all press is good press. The more negative, the better, because people are more drawn to negativity. But CIA is a very important, reputable institution where you want to recruit the very best. And the institution's success is built upon the agents they have and the very best agents that they have. So it's very important that you have the very best. So if let's say you're recruiting soldiers or so forth, I want you to be able to be good, calm under pressure, a good shot, and be able to make really good decisions. So yes, it's got my attention because I'm like, wait, what? A woke CIA ad? But I'm like, no, you're not a tabloid newspaper. You're not TMZ. You are there to try and attract people. So guys, look, man, I need to go and eat. I am starving. But guys, man, remember to follow myself and Red's Twitter handle is below in the description box. And then look, man, we'll be trying to be doing, which hopefully we'll try and figure out how to get our stuff on SoundCloud, Spotify, and so forth. Because I've saved all of the episodes, so you can listen to the backlog. Remember, guys, and also if you have any thoughts and so forth, put them in the comments below.
Let us know.
Put it in there,
and hey, guys, you support this. If people are saying that you guys really want it, you guys support it. We could work on maybe making another show midweek or something.
100%.
If you guys want more of this content, like we know we mostly do, Agents mostly does football and everything like that. But if this does well, guys, we could do more shows like that. So
no, because I think we definitely bounce off each other well, man. So it's good.
Yeah, bro. I love the chemistry, and like I feel like we have genuine conversations, and like we're both open-minded. We're not ready to be just offended or anything. We're not afraid to talk about anything, man. Like,
for me, as I said, like nothing is taboo to me. Like let's just have it and have a dialogue. All right, guys, we'll see you next week, guys. Peace out.
Peace, guys.
Peace.